Hi, welcome to the Healing You Method with myself, Gloria Liebecker, and my co-host, Gail Donahue. I want to acknowledge that I have experimented with having two different podcasts, one, the Healing You Method, and the other was Healing You with Gloria. And I got some recommendations from another professional that really encouraged me not to work so hard and just to be myself. And so I'm coming back to, I guess, the heart of where I started with the Healing You Method, because it all is the same as far as the work that I'm doing in the world and just really wanting to be able to have conversations around that. So what I've been doing most recently, and I was so sad that my great friend here, Gail, wasn't able to join me, but I hope she does next time. So I got to go to a conference and it was really powerful because it was each time I go, it was an ASEA conference. It's the people there are so warm and welcoming, and they're so diversified and so much fun. And it's just like a big family reunion. Yet at the same time, it's like if you with a family reunion, one of the things that one of the speakers said is like, there's sandpaper that can happen in any relationship. And it depends, what's the grade of sandpaper that's happening in this relationship. And everybody had a good chuckle because it's so true.
So true. You're so right. It's so true. And there's going to be
Sometimes
sandpaper.
I'm the sandpaper instead of blaming other people. Like, can I own my stuff?
Hmm.
Oh boy. And that's really been my work.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that, Gloria, that is your work and has been your work over this last time period of like really diving into owning your stuff, which that's all we can do because the only people we can change is ourselves.
Well, and it's really, I guess for me, it's not about wanting to change myself. It's really freeing myself to be myself rather than the constraints and the contortions I'll put myself through to be someone that I think everybody else wants me to be. And I got to have that experience when I was at the conference too. And I recognized it in the moment, kind of, but it was actually later that I really recognized it after I'd come home. And rather than beating myself up about it, I was able to really slow it down and recognize that imprint and how in the moment, how the different the environment that my body was in, how quickly the pattern of survival will come up to
Mhm.
save my life. And what it does is it keeps the pattern going unless I can actually stay in conversation. And so I did that. It's like a mad dash to get to the front. I wanted to have a front row seat for my team. I had so much of my team there. It was so fun to have a team there. And I was so proud of them. I got to make videos of them going across the stage and being acknowledged. And it was just so fun. But when we got there the second day and I ran up to the front, there's another gal that she's an acquaintance and a friend. And she came running up with her team the other direction. And I put a whole bunch of stuff down to save seats. And then it's really loud, really noisy, lots of light flashing. And she sat on my seat and where I had my backpack. And she just said, "This is my seat." And I'm like, "No, it's not your seat." But the trigger for me was all this loud noise, all these people are watching. And now here's somebody that comes up and just does like a squatter's rights. This is my seat. I'm not moving. And a zillion things went through my mind of how
Yeah.
am I going to get her to move? And I went into this very old pattern of doing my best to just make this other person happy.
Mm. Right.
I
Right.
wasn't going to have some kind of a altercation. I didn't want to have a scene. But see, one of my patterns is avoid conflict.
Yes, it's a common pattern for many of us to avoid conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things I did, I recognized it. And at the same time, I also recognized, I can recognize patterns of other people where they might not recognize their own patterns, but I
Mhm.
can actually see it, and I choose grace in my life. And so, what I did is I was able to meet her right where she was. And I it's by name. I saw her after we went back and forth a few times. That's not your seat. That's my backpack. And it's my seat. This is my seat. And it reminded me even of my little granddaughter, how they would just, it's a
Mine, 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 mine.
yeah, exactly. So I just looked at her and I just called her by name and I gave her a big hug and I said, you are a real piece of work. And she's like, girl. And then there was just this sense of humor where she was like just making up stuff, enlarging on them, expounding on things. And I was just laughing with her because she was just having so much fun getting away with taking my seat. I took
Mhm.
my backpack, I let her sit there. We sat beside each other through the whole conference that day. And I actually bonded with her in a deeper way. But what I noticed my pattern was to comply, to get along, to make someone else happy. And I did do it my own way, and yet what I encourage myself to do in the future would be to come back into my heart sooner and just be really honest.
Yeah.
Rather than matching her energy, stay in my own energy.
Mhm.
Don't be a chameleon in order to get along. Be who you really are and see where it goes. It doesn't
Yeah.
hurt anything. Just see where it goes. Go, wow. I
Yeah,
know.
it sounds like you stayed with who you are, and it ended up evolving to be very positive, and that you actually found a deeper bond with this person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish and the people that I wanted to save the seats for, I saw they ended up getting a couple seats in the front. And so I was grateful for that. And so to me, it's kind of like, oh, okay, that's good. That was my intention for them to get to have seats.
Mhm.
So they still got the seats, which was a really beautiful thing. But I guess the point for me is noticing what is the environment. So for me, there was really heightened energy all around. So there's a kind of a contagion energetically for everybody
Mhm.
there.
Right. Yeah.
Amplifies whatever's going on. And then when someone powers over, then that's going to be that trigger for my victim self
Yeah.
because I had a lot of experiences of that being powered over. And I had a lot of experiences that if I did my best to power up, it would not be enough. So then I made it mean that I'm not enough. I'm not allowed to be enough.
Yes. Yeah.
And then recognizing that's not true and just stepping into the soft energy that I do love
Hmm.
and just being me anyway.
Yeah. So in that way, like, you focus to be who you are, and but you changed your patterns, your old patterns that have been imprinted
Yeah.
and are becoming more of who you truly are. Yeah. Yeah. So with this work, that's what we can all explore doing, is with this work and the support of becoming of who we truly are and who we were meant to be, and not be caught in our patterns that we've
Yeah.
been imprinted with. And
Yeah. The key is that moment of recognition when we truly recognize what we're doing.
yeah.
Actually own it. Go, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm inspired. So my request I make of myself is to reach out to this individual and just have another chat now that it's all over and just check in. How was that
Yeah.
for them? And actually do a bit of a repair there because there was a bit of a rupture and we used humor to kind of gloss it over. And yet at the same time, I just like to have that honest conversation.
Yeah. And would I don't, just checking in with you, is it also related to where you get to actually voice how it was for you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's really important. That
Which is
honesty.
important. Yeah.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
what that does, it actually it'll strengthen the bond
Hmm.
or it'll
Yeah.
just fade away.
Yeah.
And that's my purpose is to strengthen those bonds by being who I really am and having
Yeah.
those conversations instead of avoiding it.
Yeah. And not leaving yourself out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're important. And it's aligning with you. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
all are. That was one thing that was really funny. The first day that I got to the conference, um, I've seen a lot of people there on videos, but when you're on a video, you don't actually know how tall or short the person is. And
That's
so
true.
a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, I didn't know you were so tall," because I am a tall woman. But I was standing in the foyer at the hotel conference, and a lady came in and asked if I actually was one of the executives, or, who was I? And I go, "Oh, well, I work with the company, but no, I'm not part of the executive board." And she goes, "Oh, you just look so important." And I said, "I am important, and so are you." And so we had that conversation about, because we all are important.
Yeah,
And can we own
that's
it?
beautiful.
Allow
Yeah,
ourselves to do that. Yeah, it was.
that's beautiful. Well, I really look forward to hearing in our next, next conversation we have how this might go and how it might evolve when you next speak with this woman that you had this interaction with.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned.
Okay, till next time.
Okay,
Bye,
thank
Gloria.